Hi everyone, this is Driftwood speaking for Gamerside, and today I have a bit less than 20 minutes to tell you about my thoughts concerning Soulstice, a game by Reply Game Studio that is published by Modus Games. And I'm actually pretty happy to be able to show it to you, although this footage was provided by the publisher and the developers, so it's not mine. But I should have more than enough time to tell you what I think and to explain the different mechanics of this game. So I really hope you enjoy it. So without further ado, let's get straight to the point and talk about the game in the first section of this preview video. And I will start talking about the world and the visuals, but first a few things about the story. I'm not going to give away much because, well, I haven't seen all the story. I've only played the first 12 levels or missions, but you play the role of Briar, who's a chimera. And a chimera in this world is a warrior that is actually the combination of two souls. And Briar has been combined with her sister's soul, Lute. And they're there to, close this tear you see there that is threatening Ilden, the city. Actually, specters and sorts of ghosts have invaded the place, and they've turned the population into monsters and deadly creatures. So you're here to understand what's going on and to stop the tear from ruining the world. And it's pretty interesting, actually. The characters are appealing. There are cutscenes, more often than not, and it's nice because it's not a cryptic story. It's a game that is inspired by Devil May Cry, so it's actually giving you the story. There are dialogues between the characters, between the two sisters. There obviously are other characters as well, as Leighton, the merchant, that I'll talk about later, I guess. And some of the main characters are also enemies, bad guys that will be rather talkative sometimes. And it's I like the atmosphere, really. I like the voice acting also. It's well done, and it's appealing. It makes you want to discover what's going on. And the fact that the game looks really, really nice, and I would even say gorgeous, especially for a AA title like this one. I don't know if you played the Thymesia demo a little while back on Steam, but this is so much better looking than Thymesia, in my book at least. And it's like paintings come to life, really, and I really enjoy that. Even the the character models are great. Some might think that maybe the monsters within close-up shots are a bit too simplistic, but there's a sort of a cartoony look, anime look to the game that I find very, very interesting. And but the environments, I mean, they're great. And it actually runs very well on PC. There's DLSS. I was playing this on my 2080 Ti, 4K DLSS set on quality, and it was fine in level 7, I think it was. I had a few slowdowns during combat in some of the shots, so I lowered down to 1440p balanced, and was very smooth. So maybe a bit of optimization to do, but they still have a few weeks to go because the game won't be out before the end of September, so it's shaping up very nicely in terms of visuals and everything. Now, obviously, because it's a game inspired by the Devil May Cry series, among other games, there's going to be combat. But before I talk about combat, I wanted to say a few things about exploration, because it may be a linear sort of world where you have, especially with the predefined camera angles, that makes it even easier maybe to understand where you're supposed to go, but a lot of things are hidden. And there's actually a point in exploring to find like crystals that you're going to use to upgrade the characters. But there are also like platforming sequences like this one where you're going to have to use your fields. You have two different types of fields. One is blue and one is red. The blue one is called the evocation field, and the other one is the banishment field. And they're used to either, well, be able to hit crystals like this, and those are like, you know, ways to activate or to destroy a bigger crystal, so you can actually go past this ladder, and sometimes just to be able to jump onto a platform quite simply. And like I said, it's also a way to destroy blue crystals and red crystal that will be used to upgrade Briar and Loot and their abilities. You also have these ethereal thorns that can be dangerous because they're going to explode when you get close to them, but you can destroy them if you use the blue field. And like I said, there are different things that are hidden in the world, and the predefined camera angles they make it easy for the developers to hide things, so you really should be curious. There are even like secret bonus challenge rooms you can find where you have to beat enemies in a certain amount of time or in a certain way in order to unlock new items that will allow you to have a larger health bar, for example. So it's quite interesting to really explore your environment. Just a quick look at two enemies that you can see, and then we'll move on to the next section. Because obviously, even if it's B-roll, I don't want to spoil too much, so I won't show you too much. It's about 20 minutes, and the B-roll was I think 30. So I saved you like 10 minutes of gameplay, so you can discover the game by yourself at the end of September. But again, yeah, it looks very nice, and I'm really looking forward to seeing more of it. So then let's talk about combat and bosses in the end. And there's quite a lot to say, so I don't know if I'll be able to cover everything in the time I have, but I'll try. So when you start the game, you basically have two weapons available. You have the Ashen Vindicator, which is basically a big sword that you can see here. But you can also use the Ashen Enforcer, which is like just a big hammer. I would describe it as you can see it now. And you can combine both, and you can unlock combos using the crystals that you're going to find when killing the enemies or destroying objects in the scenery, or also destroying crystals, red crystals, when you meet the merchant, either during the missions or before the beginning of a mission in the menu, just like in Devil May Cry. So there are quite a few common points, and one of them is that you get a rank every time you finish an encounter, and at the end of the mission you also get another rank based on how you played, how you fought, and also how much time it took you to complete the mission. The combat system is pretty effective. It's very brutal in a way. You control Briar, and Loot is assisting you, and she manages things on her own, but you can see that sometimes there's a B button popping, and this is when you can actually control her to counter, and there are different types of counters you can use depending on where the enemies are and what type of enemies also you face, and the sort of the attacks they try to launch. So there are many types of combos. There are aerial combos as well, and there's a very nice flow to it. Only problem I see for now, and it's not quite obvious here because there are not too many enemies, is that sometimes because of the camera angles, sometimes you can move the camera yourself, but sometimes the camera angles are fixed, and no matter what, it sometimes gets a bit messy. I would say it's not always easy to read what's going on and to be able to dodge when you're supposed to dodge. And it's very important because you play two souls, two characters. There's a mechanical unity, which is really important because as long as you play well, you manage to attack your enemies, to dodge the attacks, to counter when it's possible, when you see the prompt. you're going to build up that sort of unity meter that is on the top left, corner of the screen, symbolized by the two character faces. And when you reach Unity, you can unlock a synergy attack, which is not that easy to actually launch. Maybe it's me and then I didn't figure out exactly what you're supposed to do. I think it's supposed to try and launch a combo, which is like I don't know, like XX, then pause. You wait until the weapon blinks, and then XXX again, and that's supposed to launch the attack. Maybe I'm not getting this right, but I'm having trouble launching it. And later in the game, you're also going to unlock a state of rapture, the rapture state, which is a sort of rage mode, and there's a very nice cutscenes, very anime-like, where you see Briar transforming herself in sort of monster, and then you have a few seconds where you can attack any foe you have in front of you, no matter what, and you cause more damage, but you can't use healing items, for example. And then a bit later again, you can even start a berserk mode, which happens if you start if you launch the rapture state when Briar's health is very low. But this is actually dangerous, because when you are in berserk mode, you don't control Briar anymore, and if you don't manage to save her from that state, she's going to die. So you have to use loot to bring her back to reason, which is done by putting the left thumbstick in the right direction for a certain amount of time, trying to follow the direction to get closer to loot, and then you have to button mash the B button to save her. So that's something that you're supposed to use wisely. Another thing that is interesting in the combat system is that you can see, and you could see that before, that some enemies are blue or sometimes red, and they can't be hit unless you use the two fields I mentioned before. So the blue one, the evocation field, is going to be necessary to take care of the specters, while the red one, the banishment field, is going to be necessary to confront some of the enemies that are possessed. There are also different sequences, like, a la Crash Bandicoot, in a way, that I found very, very actually exciting to watch and play. Although I was not as skillful as the demo here, because I kept being hit by some of the lasers. But it was quite an interesting sequence, because it was just the one sequence I saw that was very different. There was also a moment when you had like waves of enemies attacking you, and there was no point in just staying there and fighting them all. You had to push forward. You had to continue until you reached a certain area, and that was interesting because it added pace, and the combat system is actually very well paced. So it's very engaging for the moment, I have to say, because it plays a lot like a Devil May Cry game, but there's this game world that is different. And obviously, like I said before, you can upgrade Briar's weapons and the different weapons you're going to unlock. So there's, like I said, the sword and hammer, but then you have a gauntlet, and then you have a bow, and then you also unlock a whip. And all of them come with, different combos that are actually similar. Some might be disappointed in that, but at least it means that you don't have to learn how to play them. It's just the effect they have. But loot can also be upgraded, and there are actually 3 categories. There's defense, fields, obviously, because she's in control of the fields you use, and also offense. So offense is automatic, but she'll be more effective if you unlock some of the different abilities that you have. Defense is what you will be able to do when you press the B button. And the skill tree is actually huge, but we were told that the 12 levels we had access to it's only 25% of the game, and I spent many hours. I mean, they said it was 5 hours of gameplay, but I think I spent more, not even counting the potential retries I had to do, and I could replay the missions too, just to get a better score, a higher score, or just to maybe farm some more crystals, but I did not. So It's again pretty promising in terms of content and sensations in general. So I wanted to show you the bosses that were included in the B-roll we were provided. So also had to face a few more bigger enemies that don't show here. But you can see that the fields are also in action here, and that it does not seem to affect him that much for now, but because we have to break the crystals basically here. So you have to really be careful. There's crowd management control as in other games of that genre, and it works very well. Funnily enough, it's not during the boss fights that I had problem with the camera. It's really in some places because of the way the camera angles were set in the beginning. I think it doesn't always work as it should. Ideally, especially when you have no control over it. So maybe there are a few things they can do, the studio can do to optimize this. Although again, even though I had a few problems, it never meant for me potential death because of that. It's just that I lost the Unity level because I got hit and I was not careful enough, and because I couldn't see what was going on very well. Other than that, what can I say? Oh, this is the cutscene I was referring to that we saw before when you enter the rapture state. And there's actually also you can like unleash a final attack before the end of that state. That is also quite brutal in a way. And overall, for a game that again will not be out before the end of September, it runs really, really well overall. Even in combat sequences where there's tons of effects everywhere. There are multiple enemies, and there's also actually enemy variety that I enjoy in this game. And it seems that the 12 levels I've seen, they keep adding mechanics and types of enemies. So I don't know if they can do that until the end of the game. Maybe that's too much to ask, but it manages to keep things fresh, and I think that is also an essential quality, combined to the fact that the game's story is actually appealing enough to make you want to understand what's going on, to understand where Briar and Lute come from, why they became chimeras in the first place, and things like that. So yeah, that's I think everything I could say in a nutshell. I probably forgot a few things because this was not written, so it's me trying to remember all the things that I enjoyed, and just very few things I did not enjoy as much as the like I say, the camera angle. Sometimes it's very nice to enjoy the environments, but it's not always the best for combat. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed what I say also, and you found it useful. And don't hesitate to leave a comment and to tell us what you think. Hopefully I'll be able to tell you more about future games in English too. Again, trying my best to do it. Not always easy because it takes time, and I don't know, for some reason when I'm not really in good shape, it's not easy to speak English and to do it well enough to be interesting in the long run. So thank you everyone for watching. I'll be seeing you very soon, I hope. Bye bye.